So my name is Gabe Veach. I work with a company called ioTiums. We're a vendor of Yorkland. Yorkland's a local distributor here in Toronto, and one of the areas that Yorkland's getting into is what's called this digital transformation space. So, it's real important, and it's one of the topics that we're hearing more and more about when it comes to your building automation systems, when it comes to energy management, when it comes to a lot of the applications that you're looking to bring in. These are some of the key components when we talk about digital transformation. So really happy to talk to you guys about this topic today. It'll be very educational, hopefully. And feel free to ask me any questions after I give this presentation. So, like I said, my name is Gabe Veach. I'm with ioTiums. I think I've been there since the inception of the company. I'm from Austin, Texas. So the barbecue right next to me is very familiar. I love it. Makes me feel at home. So first thing I want to do is kind of ask the audience, does anyone here know what digital transformation is? Just short raise of hands. Does anyone understand what that term is? Okay, so we got a few people. A lot of people use the term IoT, other types of things like that. I like to use the word digital transformation because that's what it really is. It's taking the systems that you have in your building today, as a building owner, property owner, facilities management, connecting those systems, collecting the data, and doing something actionable with it, right? And in context of our conversation today, I really want to talk more about the architecture, right? The architecture of the building, how we actually set up for the digital transformation. Sometimes just going out and getting smart lighting or smart equipment isn't necessarily the right step, especially if you have a portfolio of buildings. So you want to make sure you have the right infrastructure in place to be able to support that. Super important, super topical when we talk about getting access to the information that you need. So these are some of the areas that we're going to want to talk about. What are the trends and challenges? We'll give some information about us, who we are, why we exist. Solution overview. So what that is why do we want to transform these buildings into a digital workplace, right? Into the digital transformation, and kind of the key steps that we see to get to the digital transformation. So in the real estate group, in all of these companies that we're talking about today, we're really at an inflection point, right? When we again talk about property owners, we talk about operators, we talk about all sorts of folks that are trying to collect information. In the high 80s, we're looking at, I need the ability to be able to get access to my information. 84% of these organizations also realize, how do I go about doing that? What are the steps that I need to take? And then, half of the folks that are out there today really just don't understand, or they're just hit with a lot of technology, right? I mean, you could look at this floor right now. It's a mix, right, of technology. It's a mix of, various services. So how do I weave, through that noise and be able to get to what I need to get to? So these are the challenges. These are a lot of the challenges that we're seeing right now, right? How do I provide peace of mind, right, within my legal teams? How do I easily connect and integrate with my systems? How do I take my existing network, right, my lighting, my HVAC system, those types of things, they're completely siloed. How do I standardize and provide third-party remote access, right? So again, when you're a building owner and you're looking at challenges today and you think of how do I get to this digital world, how do I get these really cool apps, there's lots of blockers, there's lots of challenges. IT can be a challenge, right? How long does it take to get just someone access into a building? It could be months and months. Now talk about put in a lighting system, within 200 buildings, right? There's a lot that goes along with that. So how do we do that? How do we take these challenges and how do we solve them? So ioTiums, what do we do? Who are we? We securely connect legacy systems to online applications in the cloud or private data center. Our pedigree and what we do, we're all networking guys. So we understand the challenges. Our pedigree as a company is Cisco, Aruba, Juniper Networks. They understand that these networks that were just, put out there 10, 20, 30 years ago have vulnerabilities, right? Have vulnerabilities in getting the applications that you need to get to. And that's what we solve. These guys have come and built this company to be able to solve these issues. We have a lot of key investors that are investing in our company. We're 60 people strong. One of our investors is John Chambers, the ex-CEO of Cisco, and he even sees with Cisco that there are problems at scale getting companies the applications they need to get to. When we talk about one building, that's fine, but when we talk about 50, 100 buildings that a chief engineer needs to get access to, or third-party access control needs to happen, it's very difficult today to do without an IT army. We solve that with a plug-and-play solution. So these are the pillars, right? And this is where I pause typically, and this is where we really kind of get honed in on what we solve. So deployment complexities. Again, when we talk about this room in general, the HVAC, the lighting, the access control, I need to upgrade. I need to bring in smart things, but I don't have an IT army to be able to do that, right? That's some of the challenges that we're seeing with the digital transformation. Second, security vulnerabilities. I see it time and time again where there's third-party remote access coming into buildings. They're at a Starbucks, they use the username admin, and who knows what they're logging into. I work with a lot of banks today, and I literally did a walkthrough with someone, and as I was walking and the chief engineer was looking at his computer, his mouse was moving without him even being there. It was just mind-boggling to me that someone could go in, manage his control system somewhere remotely, and he had no idea who was doing it. So just things that we find kind of underground within this space. So security is a huge part of this digital transformation. And in that third-party remote access, like I just said before, I want to be able to audit. I want to be able to know who's coming into my buildings. That's a big, big part of this digital transformation because you're going to be relying on third-party people, not just your internal IT folks or your internal operation people. So it's really, really important to secure your network there. Analytics across the enterprise. So everyone wants to collect that key data, right? Occupancy. I hear that time and time again. I want to know, do I need to downsize? Do I need to upgrade? Do I need to hire more people? Well, let's put in some occupancy sensors to be able to see who's in these buildings and monitor that. Well, be able to monitor that across scale, you got to be able to run applications at scale. So again, we solve that issue with being able to run applications. Yorkland, who we work with, is really kind of promoting this very heavily with a lot of buildings that they have here in Ontario. I believe there's a few hospitals, a few schools, and things like that where it's very easy for them to manage at one single location, one application at scale. They don't have to truck roll, they don't have to bring guys to each individual building. Yorkland can actually manage and monitor these buildings without having to go there. It's huge for them. And lastly, future-proof. So today you may not have the applications that you're looking for, but tomorrow someone's going to come out with some sort of smart algorithm or AI compute, and you want to be able to add that very easily, very quickly. We build that infrastructure for you to do that, right? So again, when you talk about digital transformation, infrastructure is big, but we also want to be able to future-proof that. So provide you with an application store. There's there's solutions out there like SkySpark, Niagara, monitoring things. There's occupancy types of information, like I mentioned before. Tons and tons of different applications that you're going to see in this building. How do I implement it? How do I implement it across hundreds and thousands of buildings? So here's kind of a step. This is my demo, by the way, my step-by-step of what we do, how we do this. So, I'll walk you through what this is, and I think it'll resonate, with everyone here. So if you have, property owner, property, manager, facilities manager, engineer, you have a slew of buildings. Each one of those buildings can have different systems, right? Maybe you're collecting BACnet data, maybe you're collecting different types of information. So how do I support siloed technologies, siloed systems, right? We make it very easy. We have a product, it's called an inode. That inode is a piece of hardware that sits on a building's network, and pushes it up to the cloud. What we've created is a secure tunnel to another inode. So only one inode can talk to another inode. The second piece of this is an orchestrator. That orchestrator manages all of these inodes. So now what you've created is a secure network, right? Very simply, I've placed a box on there, plugged it into the existing network. You could use 4G, you can use Wi-Fi, whatever you want to use to connect to that cloud-based application, but now you've created a secure tunnel. This is really important. This is step one of that foundation of the digital transformation. Getting all of your buildings to talk one language, super important. When you talk about multiple buildings that are out there that have multiple ways to connect through IT, it could be VPN, username, password, Palo Alto firewall, those kinds of things, it's all disparate. We bring all of these buildings together on a single operational network. So this is purely for your lighting, for your access controls, for your HVAC systems, all these operative things that you do every day. Oh, lost my mouse. So like I said, they manage all of these inodes. Our orchestrator manages the inodes, creates you a virtual network, if you will, for your operations. Now you can run third-party apps. Now you can create a data lake. I mean, these are all what I'd call, people that are hiring now, these property owners that are hiring smart building folks. These are the challenges that they're finding. How do I get access to that information? How do I do it across portfolio? How do I do it quickly, easily, and at scale? So those are the folks that are really looking into this type of solution. Now the next one, applications. So now I've created the secure tunnel. Everything's great. No one can come into the building unless we give them access to the building. But I want to be able to run applications. So second step in what I'd call the digital transformation. 3 total steps here. Created the tunnel. Now I have an app store, right? So think of like your phone, your iPhone in a way, where we're the operating system that runs your phone, but there's all sorts of applications on there that you can download. Same concept here. When you log into the orchestrator, now I've got access to not just one application, but multiple applications. Those little inodes, those pieces of hardware, they're like computers, compute power. Super, super important to understand that because you future-proofed your building. Now I can bring on these applications at scale very easily, one click. I don't need IT involved. I've already created my network overlay. Again, I know a lot of people in this room have that frustration when you're talking about, getting IT to give you access to buildings and getting that data. This is where projects get stopped. This is where funds and IT armies really stop things. We don't need that. This is a plug-in, turn it on, get access to your building, and then get your applications. Last and most importantly, the third step here in the digital transformation is access. So not everyone in the building is going to get access to this information. Typically, you'll work with a third-party team. Someone like Yorkland, for example, they could run your energy management remotely. Well, I want to know who's coming into my building. This is the security aspect for a building owner of who's coming in, why they're coming in, and audit controls. Again, a very, very, very big issue out there in the building automation space is, there we go, whoop. What did I lose? Okay. Very big issue in the building automation space is third-party remote access. So I mentioned this before. What we have done is we've created a portal that lays on top of our security solution that allows engineers to log in directly to the application they need to get to. And we don't do it, with usernames. Well, we do it with usernames and passwords, but we do it in a protected environment that only we onboard. So, for example, I worked with a bank recently that said they have third-party folks. They don't have any idea where they're coming from. They could be at a Starbucks. They could be sharing usernames and passwords, and it's super unsecure, right? Admin is what we hear a lot of third-party remote access coming in. So now what we've done is, let's say, for example, that Honeywell building control system, and there's a guy in the upper right-hand corner there that's logging in. He's only going to get access to that Honeywell building, okay? And the Siemens guy and the Trane guy. So there's a method to our madness here when we talk about each one of these steps. Secure data isolation. run the application you need to run, and then lastly, log into that application that you need to log into. These are the key steps. No IT involved, right? This is a plug and play solution. Some IT involvement, they're going to want to know what that box is. We're going to connect to the existing network, we're going to be able to get there. This is a big issue today, and a lot of the property owners that I'm speaking with, are just unaware of who's coming into their buildings. So we have audit logs, we have reports, we know what these folks are doing, and this is important too if you have a maintenance contract. That's okay, it just doesn't want to stay there. If you have a maintenance contract, you can see who's coming into these buildings, right? So let's say you've got a maintenance contract with Honeywell. They say, oh, we've been monitoring your building 24/7. Well, you can see who's actually logging in and coming in remotely into these buildings. So again, really, really important step when we talk about these three key areas within digital transformation. I love this slide just because, and this is the hardware, this is the inode that sits on that building. So it's a gateway, we're the operating system, so we're like the Windows, if you will. For a laptop on there, we're the operating that sits on there. So typically, in the digital transformation, in the world today, you'd have to purchase a router, switch, firewall, VPN concentrator, all of these things very manually. We've built it all in. We've built it all into this box, and we've allowed you to plug it in, turn it on, all of those things now. You don't have to buy, you don't have to purchase. IT doesn't have to worry about all of these manual types of setups and costs and license and all of these kinds of things. We're a subscription service. It's one cost. Building owners love that. Just based on the operational costs that they have to, take in, all the hardware is built in. So, we really like to say that it's a built-in solution that you can plug and play. A facilities manager can plug this in. It's like a DSL modem. Back in the day, AOL, blue plug, yellow plug, turn it on, plug it in. Now you're getting access to your cloud-based applications. So driving value, right? When we talk about the digital transformation, we talk about applications that should help you operate more efficiently. Well, if you have IT and you don't have the infrastructure to do that, you can't even get started with those applications. So what do? We help with the infrastructure. Again, no cost for an IT army to be able to do this. Very easy to implement. 2, this is really helpful too for the third-party vendors. Think about all the truck rolls they have to make for unneeded, unnecessary, types of things. I know our facilities management people in here understand that, just doing a maintenance call to do a maintenance call. Let's get better data, let's get better information. Again, we're the folks that help with those types of things and make sure that connection layer is there. And then lastly, and really important, especially for building owners, even for your internal folks that are doing the operations, it's very hard for them to get access. They've never had access to these types of systems before. And everyone's hiring new, young data scientists to get access to this information. Make it easy for them. Make it simple for them to be able to get this access. So, those are some of the efficiencies that we're driving for this. Yeah, this is the wrap-up slide here. Hopefully, I was able to give you guys some background, some information, at least hopefully it resonated what digital transformation is. It's not just IoT, those are just buzzwords in my mind. Digital transformation is making your building smart. The infrastructure, the plumbing, right? Before you bring on any of these cool, smart, interesting applications that are out there today, you need the plumbing for your digital transformation. And then what does that start with? Well, these 3 pillars: security, ease of deployment, and being able to future-proof your building. So, that's really a lot of the information that I have here today. And, you'll see a lot of trends, you'll see a lot of challenges that are out there. And hopefully now when someone brings up the word digital transformation, you have a good idea of what we're actually talking about. And these are some of the customers we're working with today. I'm in Toronto, it seems like every few weeks, because this is what's going on here. You guys are actually quite a good hub, of technology. More than a lot of the cities that I actually go to, you're starting to grasp this, concept of, I need to get information so I can make better decisions, right? Well, to be able to do that, you need that infrastructure in place. So if anyone has any projects that they're thinking about or doing or want to talk to me about, I have good information on how to get started. So more than happy, I think this is the last meeting of the day. So again, more than happy to sit there and talk with you if you have any questions or concerns or challenges. And that's it. I'll open it up for any questions.
Thank you for the presentation. Just a question about different, I guess, protocols and systems that you have had experience interfacing with, and maybe what you're planning to interface with in the future.
Yeah, are you referring to like BACnet or Modbus and those kinds of things? So yeah, that's the beauty of our system. That piece of hardware that I showed you, when you put it onto the existing network, there's a local company here that I'm actually working with that they are having issues with different versions of BACnet, and they need to collect that data to make good decisions. We're agnostic. It could be BACnet, Modbus, CAN bus, whatever it is. That box that I showed you has the connectors in there to collect that data, compress that data, and push it to whatever application you want. So we're fairly agnostic when it comes to the different protocols that are out there. If you tell me you have an old version of LAN, then we may need to talk, but which is it's kind of an inside joke, but it's really kind of bad. Then that's a different scenario. But typically anything BACnet, Modbus, CAN bus, we can pick up and transmit. And there could be different versions. What I really want to show here is those different inodes are talking to different systems that could have different BACnet versions. We collect all of that into a single data lake, right? Or third-party application or whatever you want to run.
Hello, what would you say sets ioTium apart from other single pane of glass or one portal solutions?
Yeah, good question. So when we talk single pane of glass, I'm talking about when you go down to the chief engineer's office and you see 5 different desktops running 5 different applications, right? What that guy is looking for on his laptop is one username and password to log into to get access to those buildings, to get access to those systems, right? Think about it. You're an engineer, you have different VPNs, passwords for your elevator, for your lighting, for your access control, for your HVAC systems. We need to bridge all that together, and let's do it while he's out maybe fishing, right? Give him access to that so he doesn't have to be tethered to his desk at all times. That's the single pane of glass that I'm referring to. From my understanding, no one's really doing anything like that, right? If you talk to the Siemens and the Honeywells, they want to pitch their solution, right? So their single pane of glass is Honeywell's single pane of glass, and Schneider's is theirs. But you may have legacy systems that are out there already today you don't want to replace. I just want to make it more efficient for my engineers to be able to log in and see what's going on. I don't want them to have to come into the office, different usernames and passwords, have things not log in. Did that answer? Okay. Well, like I said, come on up, give me a shout if you guys want to chat about any projects you have going on, and more than happy to give you my insight. Thank you.